Have you ever felt that your body is changing in ways you can't quite explain? One morning you get out of bed and realize your legs feel a little shaky. The stairs you've climbed for years suddenly seem steeper, longer, and your breathing, once steady and effortless, now feels shorter after just a few steps. I've heard that story hundreds of times in my clinic. And I'll be honest with you, I feel it myself at 60. After 50, the body begins to write a new chapter. Muscles don't respond as quickly as they used to. Strength fades little by little. Flexibility and recovery take longer. But the most frightening part, isn't that our bodies grow weaker, it's that we start to accept it. So many of my patients tell me, "Doc, I guess this is just what happens when you get old." And I always ask them the same thing. Are you sure about that? Or have you simply stopped believing you can change? Aging isn't a punishment, it's an invitation. An invitation to live more wisely, more mindfully, to care for your body as you would care for a lifelong friend. Sadly, many people never see it that way. They quietly surrender to fatigue, to stiffness, to depending on others for things they once did on their own. I remember a patient named Michael, 67. He came to see me after slipping in the shower. Nothing serious, just a fall. But what he said stayed with me, doctor. What hurt wasn't the fall. It was realizing I didn't feel like myself anymore. That one sentence held a truth I've heard in many hearts. It isn't the fear of aging itself, it's the fear of losing independence, of waking up one day and realizing you can no longer do the simple, joyful things. Walking the dog, tending the garden, driving to the store, or bending down to tie your shoes without trembling hands. I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, are we slowing down because of age? Or because we quietly stopped trying? Science tells us that most of the decline we see after 50 isn't caused by aging itself, but by inactivity, years of sitting, of letting the body forget what it was built to do. The human body is extraordinary. It wants to heal. It never gives up on us unless we give up on it first. I've seen 70-year-olds start from zero, just a few simple movements each day, and within months they move freely again, climb stairs without holding the rail, even walk their grandkids to the park. There's no magic pill, only patience, faith, and a willingness to move. After 50, everything slows down, even recovery. Muscles take longer to rebuild. Joints need more time to warm up. But that doesn't mean you're stuck this way forever. It simply means you must listen to your body more closely. I often tell my patients 50 isn't the beginning of decline, it's the moment to start living consciously. Imagine your body as a garden after its first bloom. Weeds may grow, the soil may dry out, but with water, care, and pruning, it can blossom again. Your body works the same way. It hasn't betrayed you, it's just waiting for you to return to it. Yes, there will be mornings when your back aches or your knees protest. There will be days when progress feels painfully slow. But whenever that happens, remember this. Movement is medicine. Stillness is the disease. When you move even for just a few minutes a day, you're sending your body a powerful message. I'm still here. I haven't given up. And your body will answer. Your heartbeat steadies. Your sleep deepens. Your breathing lengthens. Your muscles remember their purpose to support you, to protect you, to keep you standing tall in this world. One day you'll realize something profound. You're not fighting age. You're learning to live more fully with it. Because aging doesn't take away our strength. It simply asks one question. Do you still want to be strong? And if your answer is yes, then trust me, my friend, it's never too late to begin. Part 2. Push-ups. Reclaiming upper body strength. Now I want you to picture something simple. One day you bend down to pick something off the floor and realize getting back up isn't as easy as it used to be. Or you try to push open a heavy door and your shoulders feel weak, your arms tremble. I see this all the time and I've felt it myself. What we don't realize is that upper body strength, the shoulders, chest, and arms, is the foundation for nearly everything we do in daily life. Opening a jar, carrying groceries, lifting a grandchild, even pushing yourself up from bed or off the floor, it all depends on muscle. And among all the exercises I've taught, one stands above the rest. The one I like to call the body's oldest friend, the push-up. I know what you're thinking, push-ups. Oh no, doc, I can't do those. And I smile because that's exactly what most people say. Then I tell them, let's start again the 50-plus way. You don't need to get down on the floor. You don't need to look like an athlete. All you need is a wall, a kitchen counter, or even the back of your sofa. Stand tall, place your hands on the wall at shoulder height, and gently lean in as if greeting an old friend. Breathe in as you move closer. Exhale softly as you push back. No rush. At this stage, your body doesn't need brute force. It needs gentle consistency. One of my patients, Evelyn 72, started exactly this way. She laughed at first. I thought push-ups were for Marines, doctor. 3 weeks later, she sent me a photo, smiling proudly, doing wall push-ups in her living room. Her message said, "Doc, I can open jars again without asking my son for help." A small victory, but one that meant independence reborn. You see, when you do push-ups, it's not just your arms and chest that work. Your whole body joins and shoulders, back, core, even your glutes. Push-ups improve circulation, wake up the nervous system, and help preserve bone density in the upper body, something that declines quickly when we stop using it. A Harvard study once found that adults over 50 who perform just 5 to 10 modified push-ups a day reduce their risk of falls or fractures by up to 40% within 5 years. Not because push-ups are magical, but because they retrain the body to work as one. Each time you push yourself away from the wall or floor, you're teaching your body to say, "I'm still in control." And that feeling for someone our age is more healing than any prescription. When wall push-ups feel easy, take a small step forward. Try them against a countertop or a sturdy table. Bit by bit, your strength returns. Soon you'll move to knee push-ups, and eventually perhaps the classic version, the same one you might have done decades ago. I often remind my patients, no exercise is just an exercise. Every movement is a story of coming back. And for me, the push-up is a story about believing in yourself again. It's not about counting reps, it's about showing up. 5 today, 6 tomorrow, 8 next week. What matters is that your body never forgets the joy of moving. I once asked a 65-year-old patient who'd been doing wall push-ups for 3 months, "What's changed for you?" He grinned and said, "Doctor, the stairs in my house suddenly feel shorter." That right there is true strength, not just in the arms or shoulders, but in the confidence to face age head on. Because every time you lower yourself down and push back up, you're whispering to yourself, "I might fall, but I can rise again." And that, my friend, is the real meaning of this exercise. Not to make you young again, but to make sure you never lose who you are while time keeps moving. Start gently. Respect your body. And remember, every push upward is a quiet declaration to aging itself. I am still strong. I still choose to live fully. Part 3. Squats, the core of independence. Have you ever noticed that nearly everything that makes you feel alive and capable starts with your legs? Standing up from a chair, stepping outside, bending down to tie your shoes, squatting to play with your grandkids. All of it depends on strength in your hips, thighs, and knees. That's why whenever I talk about healthy aging, I always come back to one timeless, powerful movement, the squat. Let's try something small right now. You're sitting right now. Stand up without using your hands. If you can, that's fantastic. Your muscles and joints are still working well together. But if you feel a little shaky, if you have to push off your thighs or lean forward for momentum, that's your body's way of saying, "I'm starting to lose a little independence." I'm not telling you this to worry you, but to help you notice early. Because trust me, you can get that strength back if you start today. In more than 30 years of practice, I've never seen another exercise so simple, yet so deeply meaningful. The squat is the breath of movement. When we sit and stand, we're repeating the most natural action of human life, something we do dozens of times each day, often without thinking. But as muscles weaken and joints stiffen, that basic movement turns into a struggle. One day people start saying, "I can't squat anymore. Even standing up is hard." And little by little, they lose the most precious gift of aging well, self-reliance. A 74-year-old patient of mine, Helen, once told me, "Doctor, I never thought standing up from a chair could make me cry." I asked, "Would you like to change that?" She nodded slowly but with determination, and we began with nothing but a wall and a chair. If your knees feel a little sore, don't force it. Only lower yourself as far as feels comfortable. You can even lightly hold the back of a chair or a doorknob for support. At our age, there's nothing to prove. You only need to be honest with your body. After a few weeks, you'll notice something almost magical. Your steps feel steadier. Your knees move more freely. Even your posture changes, a straighter back, a lifted chin. One morning, you'll realize you stood up from a chair without using your hands. And I want you to pause in that moment and smile, because that's more than just exercise. That's a quiet victory over time. Many studies have shown that adults over 60 who squat regularly can reduce their risk of falls by up to 45%, improve hip bone density, and support natural growth hormone levels, the very things that help your body recover faster, sleep more deeply, and keep your mood steady. But to me, the most important thing isn't the statistics. It's the light I see in my patients' eyes when they realize I can still do this. I often say the squat is an exercise in patience. Every time you lower yourself, you're learning to trust your body. And every time you rise, you're reminding yourself, I can come back, maybe slowly but surely. I have a colleague 68 years old. Every morning he does 20 squats, never misses a day. When I asked him why, he said, I don't do it to be young again. I do it so I don't need anyone to pull me up. To me, that's the most beautiful spirit of aging. Remember these 3 principles. Root your feet, plant them like tree roots gripping the ground. Hips back, first send the hips back before you bend the knees. Don't drive the knees forward. Breathe steadily, inhale as you lower, exhale as you stand. If your heels tend to lift, place a small towel under them. And if your knees make a little clicking sound, don't worry. That's often just the joint waking up after a long rest. Do 2 to 3 sets, 10 to 15 reps per set according to your ability. If you get tired, sit and rest. Breathe slowly. You don't need perfection, you need consistency. You'll notice a real difference in just 3 to 4 weeks. Not only in your leg muscles, but in the way you walk, the way you stand, the way you live. That feeling of lightness, confidence, and control, that's a reward time can't take from you unless you give it up. Remember this, aging doesn't arrive overnight. It creeps in each time you choose to sit instead of stand, to rest instead of move. But with those same small choices, you can turn things around. The squat is a symbol of that truth. Sit down, stand up. Fall, then rise. Practice this every day, even just a few times. Because each time you stand up, it's not only your legs that grow stronger, your will to live grows too. In the next part, I'll share the final exercise, the plank. The one that keeps you steady on your feet, tall through your back, and calm in your mind, because real strength in our later years isn't just about muscle, it's about balance. Have you ever noticed that when we're young, balance is something we never think about? Then one day we start losing it just by turning too quickly. A misstep, a slight tilt, and the world seems to tip with us. I once asked a 63-year-old patient, "What do you fear most at this age?" He didn't mention heart disease or blood pressure. He said, "I'm afraid of falling. I understand that feeling. Not only because a fall can mean pain or a fracture, but because of the fear of losing control, losing balance in both body and spirit." That's why I always tell people over 50, if there's one area of your body to care for most, it isn't your biceps or your calves, it's your center, your core. That's where strength, stability, and confidence begin. You've probably heard of the plank, forearms and toes on the ground, body straight like a board. It sounds simple, but it's not easy. Inside that simplicity is a powerful lesson, staying steady under pressure. The plank isn't a young person's exercise. It's an exercise in stillness and consistency, something we truly understand only after we've lived a while. I remember a patient named Robert, 70 years old, who told me, "Doctor, every time I do the plank, it feels like I'm learning how to stand up to time itself." And I said, exactly. The plank doesn't teach you to defeat gravity, it teaches you to live in harmony with it. If you've never done planks before, start gently. Place your forearms on the edge of your kitchen counter. Keep your body in a straight line and don't let your hips sag. Hold for 10 seconds, then rest. Repeat a few times throughout the day. That's a standing plank, the first step to waking up your core, the abdominals, lower back, hips, and even the diaphragm where your breath begins. When that feels easier, lower the surface, try a lower table, or come to the floor on your knees with your forearms down. Breathe in deeply, exhale slowly, and notice your heartbeat. Your breath, the gentle tremble through your midsection. Everything is working even though you aren't moving. I often tell my patients the plank isn't about counting seconds. It's a moment to feel that you're still living inside this body. When you hold a plank, your body activates a network of deep muscles, the transverse abdominis, the obliques, the lower back, the hips, and even the hamstrings. This stabilizes the spine, improves posture, and reduces the risk of chronic low back pain, a common issue after 50. Many studies show that regular planking strengthens the core, improves balance, and your reflexes when you stumble. Even just 3 sets a day, 20-30 seconds each, can reduce the risk of falls in adults over 60 by as much as 30%. But to me, what matters more than the numbers is the feeling it brings a sense of inner quiet. When your body is steady and your breath is calm, your mind settles too. That's why I often say, the plank is meditation for your body. One afternoon, I asked a 66-year-old patient who had been planking for 4 months, "What do you notice most?" She smiled. "I'm not just steadier on my feet, I'm less anxious." I laughed. "So planks treat anxiety now?" she replied. "No, but they teach me to stand firm when everything around me feels unsteady." I thought about that for a long time. And I realized the real strength of the plank isn't in the abs, it's in self-understanding. When you hold a difficult position, you train your mind not to quit. When you show up each day, you train your body to endure. That's why I say, the plank is the exercise of maturity for those who know strength is no longer about speed, but about staying power. Don't put pressure on yourself. Begin with 3 sets a day, 15 to 20 seconds each. As you feel ready, work up to 30, then 45 seconds. If you get tired, rest. You don't need perfection, you need consistency. Your body doesn't need to be like anyone else's. It just needs to know you still care. By the time you're practicing push-ups, squats, and planks, you've activated nearly your entire musculoskeletal system. But more importantly, you've reawakened the connection between body and mind. After 50, strength isn't just about muscle, it's about moving your body with awareness. When you sit, you feel your weight. When you breathe, you feel warmth move through your chest. When you hold a plank, you feel your capacity to endure to stay in control. And in that moment, you understand age doesn't make you weak. Only giving up on yourself does. As I look into the camera today, I'm not speaking to you only as a doctor, but as someone who's lived through these changes too. I've had sore knees and a stiff back. I've been winded after a few steps. But I learned this: health isn't found in the clinic, it's found in the minutes you give yourself every single day. 3 exercises, push-ups, squats, and planks, simple, yet enough to keep you strong, confident, and independent for years to come. And whenever you practice, remember this: you're not fighting age. You're walking with it steady, intentional, and at peace. Thank you for staying with me on this journey. If this video helped you, share your experience in the comments, because we're not just people who exercise, we're a community. People who choose to stand firm, live well, and live beautifully at any age. I'll see you in the next video where we'll talk about recovery and better sleep after 50. Until then, keep moving, keep breathing, and as I always say, live strong, live gently, and never give up on yourself.